there, welcome to my channel. My name is Doug and I'm back with another fountain pen review. And thank you in advance for liking and subscribing to my channel. Your support allows me to continue to do these reviews, so thanks. As you can see, I've escaped my dark windowless basement and made it into the bright sunshine of a beautiful day here at the lake. I was going to review the Pilot Decimo that I gifted Win, but it seems to be in constant use since the unboxing, so that review will have to wait until she gives it up, maybe sometime next week. Instead, we're going to look at a very unusual limited edition pen, the Penbbs 535 Year of the Ox. Penbbs just continues to advance and change. It's really wonderful to see a pen manufacturer that isn't just resting on a model that hasn't changed in decades and decades, and instead is pushing the envelope of fountain pen design. Let's just list a few of the new and interesting things that Zhilong Su and his team in Shanghai have been doing for the last few years. Just since I've been buying Penbbs, they've come out with 8 new models: the 480, the 492 Year of the Rat, the 486 with a cat stuck on it, the 487, 491, 383, and the 100. Plus, they refined and improved the Model 355 bulk filler and came up with 3 new filling systems: the magnetic filler, the spring filler, their own version of the vacuumatic filling system in the 383. In addition to that, Long has created a new calligraphy nib, which is in the style of a naginata togi made by Sailor. I've been writing with my new Penbbs calligraphy number 1 nib that I put in my Penbbs 491 Starry Night for about a week now, and I love it. That's a lot of new stuff from Penbbs. How many other pen manufacturers can boast 19 different pen models with 7 different filling systems with dozens of different turned acrylic finishes, and all for under $60 US? It's truly remarkable. I know there's been a lot of criticism of Chinese fountain pen manufacturers for being copycats of other designs and not being innovative. Well, just feast your eyes on this. This is the Penbbs 2021 limited edition pen of the year, the 535 Year of the Ox. When this first came out, there were a lot of exclamations of, "Wow, that's weird. How ugly is that? And what the hell is that?"
What the hell's that?
Like it or not, it is unique and interesting. I guess it's the opposite of the short, fat, egg-shaped sex toy Moonman Q1. And no, I won't be getting one of those. This one is long and curvy and sleek and bumpy all at the same time. I have to say I didn't expect to like this pen, even though I bought one the moment they hit Etsy. I was taking one for the Penbbs team, you see.
Are you insane? I'm not going to prostitute myself just so we can get some new equipment.
Oh, come on, why not?
But this is a surprising pen in more ways than one. So let's look at the unboxing and see what's so unusual and cool about this pen right now. Well, how very fortuitous. That's the word for today, fortuitous. That on the very day that I'm giving one of these 4 pens away, I get another Penbbs pen in the mail. So let's open this up and see what it is. And we have 2 things in here. I ordered a craft knife in Starry Night. So we'll open that up. Here we go. Hope I don't cut myself. I just fell in love with this Starry Night finish when I got it on my 491. It's a regular X-Acto 11, and that can sit right there. And to the pen at hand, the Year of the Ox. Nice red box, the color of China. Penbbs embossed on the top. And it's got a slight sparkle to that, which is very nice, that box. And we have a banner, Penbbs 2021, the Chinese New Year, and it's got the filling instructions on the back, and with English as well. Very nice. Thank you, Long. And our polyethylene bag. And this one is marked 508. And here's the pen. At first glance, that mother of toilet seat or whatever it's supposed to be on there is underwhelming. But the pen is very large, very light, and there's the year of the ox nib. You draw that back, continue to turn, pen, and the first push will be difficult. I will take this apart, clean it out, and put it through its paces. Something to look forward to. And you continue turning it, and you can push it. Now, mine wouldn't do that right out of the box. It would not push no matter what I did, because I could not turn that piston in there. So what I had to do was unscrew the mechanism like this from the back of the pen, which pulls that piston out. So it goes into the collar, and when you turn it the opposite way, it should engage and push that piston. But that piston was so dry inside that barrel, it would not turn. Put a little silicone grease on that piston, pushed it back into the barrel, just like that. Screwed it down just hand tight, and now it will engage properly. And what I'd like to do today is go over the parts and features of this pen, show some size comparisons, some measurements, and then provide a writing sample. After the writing sample, please stay tuned, as I will talk about what I like and what I don't like so much about this fountain pen. This is the second Pen of the Year fountain pen I've purchased from Penbbs. The Pen of the Year 2020, the Penbbs 492 Year of the Rat, was much like the year 2020 itself. Up and down, a bit weird, and ultimately disappointing.
This is 2020.
The magnetic piston idea was clever and cool in theory, but not very practical in use. They couldn't even improve the magnetic filler for the production model 487, and now both of these pens are stored uninked. Now, I did and do like the looks of both the 492 and the 487, but looks can't trump usability. With the Penbbs Year of the Ox 2021 fountain pen, I was initially turned off by the overall look of this pen. It was just a bit too weird looking for my taste.
That's strange. All of a sudden, I don't quite feel like myself. Oh, I feel all right, and yet I
snapped one up anyway, as they are limited editions, and, of course, inquiring minds want to know. This one is number 508 of 999. I'm sure they limited it to 999 so they wouldn't have to add an extra digit to the back of the cap here. And I'm just guessing, but I'm thinking that since the pen is derived from the 355 filler mechanism, that they just switch the numbers around. Instead of 355, it's 535. Just my guess. Let's talk about the overall look of this pen for a moment. First, I want to address what I've mentioned in the introduction: the criticism that Chinese pen manufacturers are not adventurous, innovative, or creative, and they just copy classic models like Italian, German, and Japanese pens. This is proof that that isn't true. This pen is proof that Penbbs is all of those things: creative, innovative, and adventurous. And kudos to Long and his team for this adventure. But let's also talk about the aesthetics of this design. This is what we professionals in the design business call a dog's breakfast. Trademark.
You want a popsicle? Huh? Breakfast popsicle? Whoa, there's vodka in here. Now what? What did you want? What?
I'm 2.5 hours late for preschool.
It's all over the place. When I worked in theater design, I'd go to openings of plays all the time. Invariably, I'd be accosted in the lobby after a show to give my opinion. What did you think of our show?
Well, talk about bad taste.
Of course, no one wants to be harsh when someone has put great effort into a piece, so invariably I'd say, well, that was interesting. It isn't how I would have thought of approaching Romeo and Juliet with an all-female cast. But very interesting. So, if you like long, curved, both convex and concave, fat, slim, flat top, opaque black, transparent fountain pen with a built-in mirror ball, and cheap jewelry roll stop with rose gold hardware, bulk filler, then this pen is for you. This is the kind of design you see in amateur theater productions, where the play is set in some kind of period, but you can't tell exactly what period it is, because the costumes and decor have elements of 16th, 17th, 18th, and 19th century editions, just to cover all the bases. And of course the added digital watch here and there. But here is the fascinating thing about this pen as well. It's really comfortable to write with. So, spoiler alert, I love this pen. I just have to get used to writing with it with my eyes closed.
Mo! I can't see! I can't see!
What's the matter?
I got my eyes closed.
That's all. So, let's look at the myriad of features of this pen. From the top, we see a rose gold colored metal medallion on a flat-topped black injection molded plastic cap. And the medallion says Penbbs 2021 Year of the Ox. There's an image of an ox and some Chinese characters stamped into it. And this isn't a clip, this is a roll stop. It has some sort of plastic jewel, and I use the term jewel very loosely here. This one looks like it's made with a clear acrylic that someone tapped their cigar ashes into before it set. It's really ugly.
Looks don't mean nothing, man. I got a niece, an ugly girl. She got married. She's happy. She married an ugly guy.
Right?
And today they got two very ugly kids.
Ugly kids, yes.
In fact, they're all so ugly in a family album. They only keep the negatives.
It is set into a rose gold colored metal base, which is held into the cap from the inside with a Phillips head screw and a silicone seal. The cap has edition numbers, 508 of 999, a couple of oxen on both sides, and Penbbs heat stamped into it. The cap is concave in shape and swoops down to the black injection molded plastic section flare. This is very clever, to incorporate the section and the barrel as the same piece and not have the cap cover the section. The flare of the section curves down and then tapers back up again to the clear acrylic barrel. There's absolutely no seam between these two pieces. Under magnification, I can see the tiny seam between the two materials, but the tolerances here are amazing and precise. Extremely well done. The barrel then curves up and then back down in this convex curve along its length to a rose gold colored metal band with square facets like a mirror ball. That is followed by some black plastic threads for posting the cap, and then the convex shaped piston knob that has a flat bottom. The cap unscrews with 1 and about 1/4 of a turn to reveal the cap threads at the nib end of the section and the number 6 size rose gold colored steel nib and standard Penbbs plastic feed. Let's take a closer look at this nib. It has nothing but an ox and some Chinese characters, presumably saying Year of the Ox, laser etched into it. This is a fine nib in the typical Penbbs mini fude or Waverly style with the slight upturn on the tip. The nib and the feed are part of the typical Penbbs nib assembly, which unscrews easily. This is another great thing about Penbbs. You can get these parts packs for very little money to replace feeds, O-rings, nib collars, and the like. The section's shape is very comfortable. With no transition to the curve of the barrel, you can hold this pen anywhere along its length, and it's really, really smooth. The flare end of the section keeps your grip from slipping. The inside of the cap shows the aforementioned Phillips screw, but no cap seal. The cap posts on the back of the threads of the pen, and the cap is extremely light, so it doesn't backweight that pen or actually affect the balance at all. It actually doesn't increase the length of the pen appreciably, so there's no point in not posting this pen. Now on to the filling system. The 535 borrows the bulk filler system from the Penbbs 355 improved model. When I first saw this 535, I thought they had just put the mechanism from the 355 into the 535 and designed the new pen around it. But I was mistaken. Here is the 355 improved, and here is the 535. Penbbs have retooled to make a smaller size bulk filling mechanism to fit the sleeker tail of the 535. Again, this is an example of a Chinese company valuing design over cutting corners. They could have designed around the already existing tooling of the 355, but instead they resized the 355 mechanism. I'm hoping this means we'll see an improved 355 version soon. That would be an improved. The one drawback from making the 355 my favorite of all of their models is the fact that it doesn't post practically. Yeah, that sticks on there, but it makes the pen extremely long. If they can get this smaller bulk filling mechanism into this pen, which will allow that cap to post as deep as the 456, I think this would be a killer pen. When I first inked this pen, I used J. Urbain Rouge Hematite, but that ink was way too light for my liking, and the line is too thin to display any of that shimmer anyway. So I've decided to ink the pen with diamine oxblood. I got this ink to match with my new Hongdian 1841, and it's actually a great match. So let's go ahead and ink this pen so I can demonstrate how the bulk filler works. First thing you do is you unscrew the piston and draw the rod back, and then you keep turning in that same direction, which engages that thread into the piston itself. And as I said earlier, you just turn it more in that direction, and you probably couldn't see that, but that actually moved slightly to the left, which disengaged those bayonet pins, and then you push the piston forward. Now you can see those bayonet pins right there, and you push the piston all the way down, and we put the nib into the ink all the way down to the section, and then we can start siphoning up some ink. Now you'll notice that there's still some air in that chamber, and that air is there because there was air in the feed, the nib, and the section, and that got drawn up in there as well. What we can do is you can turn the pen nib up and push that piston up so that it pushes out some of that air, and you see ink starting to come out at the feed. Then you can put it back down into the ink and pull the piston the rest of the way up. Now that's completely full from there to there. Now, how do you get the rod back? Well, you have to disengage that by turning it the other way. When you pull it all the way back and turn it the opposite way, it disengages that rod from the piston, and then you hold it over the ink again, because pushing the piston back down will displace a couple of drops of ink, more than a couple. But then we know we've got an absolutely full pen. So with the piston knob screwed all the way down, it engages a little stop valve right there at the end of that section. You can see it actually very nicely right there. If you unscrew it, you'll see that that disengages. There it is coming out. There. And ink will now flow between the section and the chamber. and I can actually tap the ink out of there or turn it upside down and get the ink into there. Once the ink is down into the section and I close that valve, I've sealed off the chamber of ink from the section and the feed are full of ink. So I can write for a good long time with that amount of ink in there. And if I need ink to flow, I just open it up again. But if that's too much work for you and you forget, leave the valve open. On this model, you can still post the pen, and that valve is open. And you can just leave your pen like that, and that valve is open and the ink will flow. Having that shut-off valve is very convenient if you're traveling. That valve will prevent temperature or air pressure changes from causing the pen to burp into the cap. I bought this pen on Penbbs's official Etsy store site for $59.99 US, and I added the extra shipping to get it here before the Year of the Tiger. Now let's look at some size comparison. And here we are with the Penbbs 535 Year of the Ox, with a Leonardo Furore Grande, a Penbbs 355, a Picasso 915, and a Pilot Plumix. And the Plumix almost reaches the right length, but still, the 535 is the longest of the group. Let's look at them posted. And here they are posted. You can see that the 535 doesn't get that much bigger when you post that cap, but the other pens do, except for the Plumix, which ends up being a nice compact little squid. Now let's look at some measurements and I'll be back with a writing sample. And we're back with the writing portion of the review. This is Clairefontaine 90 GSM paper, and this is the Penbbs 535 Year of the Ox. And it has a fine steel nib. And the ink, as you just saw, is diamine oxblood. I thought that was appropriate. Let's check the wetness on this pen. Very wet. I didn't do anything to this nib. Usually these fine Mini Fude Penbbs nibs run a little bit dry right out of the box, and so I always give them the 7 presses. I'm not pressing this because I don't want it any wetter than this, but you press it to spread those tines out about 7 times, and it opens up that flow. But this was plenty wet right out of the box, and the nib is extremely smooth. It's very stiff, so you're not going to get much line variation out of it at all. And let's look at some close matches to the diamine oxblood from inkswatch.com. I bought this for the Hongdian 1841, and it's matching really nicely. I do love this dark red. And this line that we're getting out of this pen is 0.5 millimeters, which all the fine Penbbs nibs seem to be, and that makes it a Western fine or a Japanese fine to medium. And for our quote, and some reverse writing. It's not too scratchy at all, but it's very, very fine. Extra, extra, extra fine. And some quick writing. No issues whatsoever. So, what do I like and what do I not like about this fountain pen? There's so much on both sides of that question. But the short answer is that the pen writes beautifully, holds a ton of ink, and is super comfortable in the hand. Everything I dislike about the pen is aesthetic, which is purely subjective, of course. Some will absolutely adore the awkward, strangely shaped, dare I say, ugly pen. This mixture of styles attacks my design sensibilities, like a polka dot shirt with a striped tie and a plaid jacket. I mean, well, used car salesmen will love it.
This is the automobile you should be using, the Wagon Queen family truckster. You think you hate it now, but wait till you drive it.
But for me, I'll probably unink this pen, put it back in its cool red box, and chalk it up to experience. And there you have it. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to ring that bell to get instant notifications whenever a new video is posted. And that just leaves it for me to say, thank you for watching. And that's all she wrote.
I made this.